Hey there, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of OurMFC. I hope you have all had an amazing week. The weather has been unbelievable. Yeah, it's been so good, hasn't it? Went away at the weekend, went camping. So that's the socials were a little bit quiet. Managed to get back on the Sunday for the match. Um, so yeah, apologies for that. We didn't think we'd need to put an announcement out because it was only one day really where it was inactive. Um, but yeah, it's good to be back. Like I say, I hope you all had an amazing week and enjoyed the warm weather while it lasted because that is literally our summer, like 2 days. But yeah, we'll just get straight into the video. Same structure as usual with the weekly episodes, with the match reactions. So we'll do two games because obviously the Barnsley game in the Carabao Cup was the Wednesday night. So obviously we recorded on a Monday. So you won't have seen that in the last episode. It was just the QPR game. So we'll go through the Barnsley game, then we'll go through yesterday's game against Sheffield United. Um, and then after that, we'll move on to the news section. So, obviously, what's been going on surrounding the club in the past week. So, straight into it with the Barnsley game. I mean, it was one of them, wasn't it? I think you could all kind of see where it was panning out in terms of, well, when you look at the team sheet, you look at the team sheet, it was a very mixed bag. You had Paddy McNair, Bowler, um, Dale Fry, Jake Steele, and Watmore, really, as you know, first team starters. The rest of it was filled out with youngsters. So you had the likes of Sonny Finch, Joe Gibson, Brian Belongo came on, um, Isaac Fletcher, he came on, Hayden Hackney. Um, yeah, so we had a good range of youngsters that were involved throughout that game. And you know what? To be fair, you've got to put a lot of respect on all of their names because they all give a brilliant account of themselves. It wasn't the biggest of occasions, let's be honest. I mean, I didn't go to the match, but obviously watched the game on telly. It literally looked like it was only the West stand that was there that sold tickets for, and it didn't look full if I'm being honest. But I mean, amazing night for them. That's a first domestic start and first domestic appearance for some of them youngsters at senior level. So really good to see. I know Wilder is also one of the managers that likes to integrate the youth, make sure there's a clear pathway for the academy. I think this club's always been really good at that. And you know, Chris Wilder was brought in to kind of keep that. He's like I say, he's a manager that likes to do that, so it makes sense. But yeah, they all gave a really good account of themselves. We were on a front foot for majority of the game. Barnsley didn't really have any chances. First half, like I say, we created an awful lot. To be fair, Watmore goes through on goal, and for me, he's either got to take it around the keeper or he goes to the bottom corner. And I don't know if it's because the defender's closing him down. He can hear him breathing down his neck, but he just goes straight at the keeper. Doesn't really test him. Keeper doesn't really have much to do. Yeah, he's got to get down, but straight at his legs. Just kind of kicks it out of danger. But yeah, for me, what Moore's got to take. If I was a striker in that position, you're looking to take it around the keeper. You know, you've been played through. He's probably about 20, 25 yards out, I want to say. And he's past the last man. There's just him and the keeper to beat. So he's had a lot of time to run, draw the keeper in. go both ways. So yeah, he definitely should have done better there. And I think if you go 1-0 up, I think we limited Barnsley to virtually nothing. Um, Joe Gibson was really good. Hayden Hackney, them two in the midfield. Sonny Finch was more of a creative player, kind of given free roam to get on the ball, create um, combinations with the strikers. Um, so yeah, it was really positive to see. Um, and then going into that second half, once again we limited opportunities, and if you were to watch the highlights back, we all pretty much all of them are it's just all Borough. Um, but you know, hopefully them youngsters don't take what seems to be the common phrase at the first team level, which is typical Borough, because we had, I want to say, 8 chances that I can think of, decent chances as well, not half chances, to put the ball in the back of the net, and we just didn't take them. They were either a little bit wide, even first team level. Jake Steeler, there was a couple of crosses that came in, um, and he didn't get on the end of it. So yeah, a little bit of a shame really, because I don't think the lads out there deserve that. I think they're putting a really good shift. Like I said, Barnsley aren't they're no pushovers, and they had a lot of first team players in that squad. And I think they'd have liked the result as well. But Wilder was really positive after the game. Um, but yeah, anyway, what happens after ruin all them missed chances? Barnsley, it's literally their last attack of the game. Um, it's on the right hand side of the box, going towards the south stand, the red faction, and a ball's fizzed across. The shot at Roberts, and to be fair, it's hit with a lot of power, but he could do better. He could get his body behind it, bring it into his chest. He doesn't do that. He parries it out, and it's a bit of a fumble, so it takes the momentum off the ball. I think if the momentum was still on the ball, it'd have gone out further wide, and their striker wouldn't have been able to come in. Um, you there's maybe an argument for tracking back, and the man was free at the back post. But yeah, after Robert spills it, it's straight in at the path of, can't remember if it was their midfielder running or our striker. But he just taps it in, and it's literally like the 90th minute. It's the last kick of the game. Um, yeah, real shame, because like I say, them lads out there deserve that. They deserve more from the game, and to see themselves into the second round and get an opportunity again there. Um, but yeah, wasn't to be. I think it's one of them. It could either have been at the time, forgetting the Sheffield United game for now. At the time, it could have either been one of them games where you look at it and you go, well, that was a missed opportunity, or blessing in disguise. It's one of the two. Um, for me, I think if you get that win, you have more momentum going into the Sheffield United game. You know, couple of shaky performances, or not the best performances really. The draw with West Brom, first game of the season, that was all right. Good, solid performance against a decent side. You go to QPR, shaky at the back, really sloppy on the ball. So yeah, two not the most convincing performances. If you get that win in the cup, even if it's a small occasion, really, it builds that confidence. The lads get that winning feeling back. I know there's not many first team players. The confidence it gives you, but it kind of runs throughout the club. Um, but yeah, I think looking at it, we don't have a full squad. So rotation would have been inevitable in the next round anyway. Um, but yeah, it obviously wasn't to be. Ends 1-0. Like I said, after the match, Wilder, he was, he was really, really positive. He thought we played some really good football, which we did. Passing combinations were there, which is good to see that the youth set up, obviously carrying the style of play that the first team are looking to play, so that if they do make the jump up to this level, they're more than capable of playing it because they're used to it week in, week out. Um, Really positive. like I say, loads of good stuff to say about the players. So yeah, really good account of themselves. Then going into the Sheffield United game, wow, what an atmosphere! My word, literally goosebumps. Like, oh, I can't even imagine what it was like for them players walking out. But to walk out in a near full stadium, Sheffield United, fair play to their fans as well. They brought a good couple of thousand across, and I think that amplified the atmosphere. We were giving it some, Sheffield United fans were giving it some, and it kind of like projected onto the pitch. So we had the likes of well, there was a lot of fight tackles going in, loads of 50-50s. Managers were giving it some. Obviously, Chris Wilder, formerly managing Sheffield United, Ela wanted to win that game more than anyone. So that was, yeah, it was just an all round awesome game of football. Fans, it's sunny. Like I said, feisty tackles going in, goals which we'll get onto, cards. Like it had it all. It just the perfect football. If you're a neutral, that's the type of game that you want to watch on telly. So whether this was being shown abroad, that is a proper EFL game. Anyway, we don't have the best of starts, to be fair. It was all Sheffield United, and the way that they'd set up, they were continuously pressing us. We couldn't get out, and the way that they'd set up made us play long balls in behind, and it didn't really suit Force, if I'm being completely honest. For me, Force is the type of player where you get it to his feet, he brings the midfielders into play, that them little combinations, the runs in behind. But we were trying to force it, we were going long. It just wasn't Wilder ball, which we're obviously that phrase needs put in the dictionary. But we're not accustomed to playing that football anymore. We've gone way past the Tony Pulis days, lumping up to Gusted. But yeah, first 10 minutes got very sloppy. Like I say, not being able to get out, not being able to play. And then, if I'm being completely honest, for me, the first goal, like all of our goals so far this season, very avoidable. Um, I like their midfielder. I think Sander Berge, very good player, very very intelligent player. I know Chris Wilder signed him for a lot of money when they made the step up to the Premier League. But yeah, very very intelligent football player. Anyway, he plays. I think he plays a 1-2 on the edge of the box, picks it back up and drifts out wide slightly. And it's more the very corner of the 18-yard box, and he fires it straight across, and it is towards the corner. I know Mado picked it up on commentary as well, that maybe Stefan could have done a bit more. But for me, the press wasn't there, the closing down wasn't quick enough. I think you put a player like that under pressure a bit quicker. It doesn't go anywhere near the corner. It's more a bit of a panic shot straight at the keeper, and then it's up to Stefan to deal with it. But yeah, for me, avoidable. There was questions around whether Stefan could have done more, got down quick or whatever. But for me, no, I don't, I don't think so. I think he's down, he's stretching, he's doing everything he can to try and palm the ball away, but he just can't get there quick enough. And I think that was down to the power of the shot. It was a really powerful strike into that bottom corner. Um, but yeah, so go 1-0 down. Um, but that was the turning point for me. As soon as we went 1-0 down, from that point, genuinely, until the final whistle, I thought we looked the better team. I thought we really looked the better team. And after their goal, we seemed to kick on. Um, not sure, obviously, the feedback that Wilder was giving them off the side of the pitch, but there just seemed to be a click, like, that flipping moment where our passing, we were a lot calmer on the ball. I know Houghton was trying to force it and he was going long. He wasn't. He was keeping the ball. He was drawing the midfielders in, which then left gaps, which, you know, we could then exploit. Players like Akpom, my word, obviously we'll talk about him a lot more, but Akpom in that game was superb. absolutely superb, like the all-round striker, and a striker that we've been calling out for the past couple of seasons. Now, why he was so good through, the middle of that first half, right until the final whistle, wasn't just because of his goal contributions, but his play, his all-round play. He was dropping into the midfield. He was holding the ball up. He was spraying out wide. He was getting the midfielders involved. Um, and it was really good to see. And it opened Sheffield United up. It left gaps in behind. And it meant players like Howson, Riley McGree could get in front of them and really kick on. And that's exactly what we did. We stayed calm at the back. Daryl Linehan, Dale Fry, they have the ball. Gets played out to Zai Jones, who plays it. I think it gets played to Jake Steele. Then it comes back out to Jones. And if you haven't seen on Twitter, go and check it out. But they've got the passing sequence that leads up to that goal. And it's like a 1-2 on the right hand side. And then Jones drifts in a bit, comes back, passes it to Paddy, and Paddy plays this unbelievable first time ball. And I mean, it's like there was only a small gap in which he could have got it through the two defenders. And if you watch it in slow mo, he gets it bang on. First time pass right into the path of Jones, who's running in behind. Jones cuts it across, and Akpom's there for a tap in, right place, right time. Um, Positional awareness for Akpom was superb throughout, and it has been so far since he came back into the fold of things. But yeah, that was a well worked goal, and not like I said, not just to get yourself back in it, but to have the confidence, the calmness to play them passing sequences, and to play that wilder ball. It was so good to see, and it was such a good team goal. It really that if you wanted to describe the way that Chris Wilder wants to play, you use that clip, you use that goal as an example of how he wants to play. Um, brilliant goal. So if you haven't seen that, go and watch the highlights. Go on. We shared it on our Twitter, so go and have a look at it on there. Yeah, really good goal. And like I say, we really kicked on. We were a lot calmer on the ball. We got back to our old self where we were just passing it around with ease and making Sheffield United players work. And their only way to deal with it really was to be a bit scrappy, to be a bit in your face, to give it some. And our players gave it back as well, which was great to see because especially our fans and Sheffield United fans, let's be honest, are both working class. It's a working class area. There's nothing more that we love to see from players is that passion, that fight, that desire to win the ball, make them crunching tackles as well. Not just talking like stuck a leg out and you've won the ball. Like yeah, absolutely going through the player. Um, and that's exactly how it was until that half time mark. Half time goes, like I say, really good end to that first half. We looked the better side. Um, One thing that I noted at a part on Twitter was we could have used the flanks more. Giles and Jones are unbelievable threats out wide, and sometimes I feel like we don't use them enough. Um, if McGree goes across with Giles, there's them little combinations that we spoke about. Goes with Howson into McGree and Giles running in behind. If he doesn't if he doesn't get the ball straight away, then he's dragged the defender out with him, which then opens the space up. Really intelligent bits of play that we can double up in them wide areas, especially with the way that we bring our centre backs out, our two wide centre backs getting forward. Um, which I'd have liked to have seen more. That was the only thing I picked up on that first half. Then going into the second half, once again, like started really well. Um, he brought off Dale Fry, which at the time I thought, oh god, it's going to be like an injury, his hamstring again. It's something like that, or his groin. And he struggled with that the last few years. Um, but while this is after the game, that was purely tactical. And he brought Lenahan into the central position, played Bowler on the left. Obviously, Jake Steele's still on the right of the back three. Um, and you know what? It was brilliant because what was happening in that first half is the type of player Billy Sharp is. He's the type of player. He's going to make runs off you. He's going to bully you or try and bully you a bit. He's going to get in your face. Um, a bit of a pest, pest. A bit of a pest. You turn around, he's there. Like he's just always there. And Dale Fry genuinely struggled to cope with him. He has Ronaldo in his back pocket, but yeah, he couldn't cope with Billy Sharp that afternoon. Um, Whereas that tactical switch from Chris Wilder, where he brings Darragh Lenihan into the central position, it meant, look, Darragh was having none of that. He was having absolutely none of that. So he stood his ground. Billy Sharp couldn't get round him. The runs he was making, he was just letting him make them. He wasn't going out with him. He wasn't getting pulled out by him. He was just letting him do his own thing. When he needed to, he'd step in so that when Billy Sharp had the ball, he turned. Darragh's there, and he, on numerous occasions, Billy had turned round and banged Darren straight there. He's gone through him. We've won the ball back. And then we're on a counter attack. So brilliant move from Wilder there. It's obviously recognised the way in which they would dictate and play up top. Really, really good move, like I say. And we did create chances. A few opportunities where Giles would get it in the wide areas, put a couple of good balls in the box. We just couldn't seem to get at the end of it. Couple of chances where um, Force makes a good run, who for me was genuinely quite quiet again. Um, it's hard the way in which he's being played. I don't know if it's because he's trying to impress or maybe trying to overdo it. I'm not sure, but for me, he can't get into the game, and I think he needs to recognise that he's not getting into the game. It just I, I remember him very rarely getting that ball, getting on the ball, making a pass out wide. Apart from one occasion, which I was about to describe, where he makes a darting run in behind. He gets the ball, he twists and he turns, he goes to the byline, pulls it back. McGree, he's on the stretch a bit. The ball it deflects off the defender, but it's just too far in front of McGree, so he's stretching it goes straight to the keeper. But like I say, Force for me didn't do enough to get on the ball. The movement, like the runs of behind, they weren't wide enough. The link up play wasn't as good as it I think it could have been. I think you've got a player like Tubrakpom that drops in behind, so that drops into midfield to pick up that ball to spray it out wide. I think when he's doing that, he needs to recognise the gap that Akpom's left, and instead of running the other way or running wide, exploit the space that Akpom's left and drag the defender out with him, and go in that direction. Because like I say, just couldn't really get hold of the game. Trying to say it could just be over impressing, could be like I say, growing into the club, growing into the way Wilder wants him to play. Could be numerous things, but yeah, I definitely think going forward, something that maybe needs to change up or like I say recognise. Anyway, Sheffield United did end up having a goal disallowed set pieces. Like we haven't looked that strong, if I'm being totally honest. Set pieces defensively, I'm talking about. We haven't well attacking. We've always had that bloody problem, but defensively, I'm not convinced. We don't seem that solid. And although there's a coolness and there's a calmness about Zach Steffen commanding his area, bar that QPR goal, um, I just don't feel convinced. Then anyway, a ball comes across, and it's a flick on. Thankfully, Egan's caught offside because it gets headed, but then it gets headed again, like back into the 6 yard area, and Egan's there, flicks it on, but he's in an offside position, thankfully, because I think that would have really killed the game off, if I'm being totally honest, because we had a lot of momentum at that point. Um, but anyway, going I think we're into the last half an hour at this point, and Sheffield United have had a couple of chances, but not really tested Stefan too much. But there was a mix up at the back, and there was a couple of times Bowler dwelling on the ball, especially in the back, and it just inviting pressure. And they brought on um oh called that their striker, the young lad that Wilder signed for Sheffield United. Brewster. Is it Brewster? I think it's Brewster. I'm thinking of Bradley Fuster. You know, the young Borough player. I think he plays for Whitby now. But yeah, I think it's who did I just say there? Oh, I don't know. You know what I mean, though. He was lively when he came on, and he caused our back three an awful lot of problems. Literally 5 minutes after coming on, with Ze- Stefan plays into Lenahan, who's got a man, I want to say about 5 yards behind him. So he's anticipating that if Lenahan gets the ball, he's straight on him, he's straight into his back. Lenahan turns, like he's into the man. Anyways, Stefan gives him it, and Lenahan like gets caught napping a little bit. His touch is a little bit too close to him. It's not out of his feet, so he can't pass it to Bowler or Jake Steele straight away. You've got to kind of take the touch and then deal with it. And by that point, he's nicked it off him. Anyway, he's ran forward into the box. Thankfully, his touch was quite heavy. So Stefan comes across, palms it against him, which then takes it, a bit further towards the byline, tries to put it back across, and Stefan does enough again. And then by that point, I think Bowler or Jake Steele has got back in that position, just to the left hand side of the post, to just knock it behind for a corner. But there's a couple of times where that had happened, and there was another point where a ball comes in, we get caught on the counter attack, and you know what? It's a good ball in. I think it's Brewster, and that's a flick on, and well, Zach Steffen keeps us in the game with that one. 100% he keeps us in the game with that one. Um, yeah, it's looking goal bound, and it's like a glancing header. There's enough power. He just has to nod it in the opposite direction, which he does so towards goal. And Stefan gets fingertips on it, which 1000% keeps us in the game. Um, but yeah, like I say, caused problems, and so did that. And I think it was in G. Really, really good player, fast, direct, physical, very strong on the ball. And our defenders, especially Lenan, struggle to cope with him, struggle to cope with his pace and his power. Anyway, he makes a dart and run into the box after playing a 1-2 with Norwood, I think it was, who gets it in behind to MG. But for me, if I'm being totally honest, it comes from a throwing on that left hand side. They're kicking towards the north stand, just so if you weren't there, you kind of get an idea. But you're talking like the northwest corner, a few yards up from there. Sheffield United get a throw in, and I don't know if it's Jake Steele's or Akpom coming back. I don't know if it's his man, but he just whether he's seen something else or what, I'm not sure, but he leaves enough space for Norwood to drift in, who when he gets the ball, he plays that pass in behind for NG, who runs into the box, gets the byline, whips the ball in at pace as well. And, it's happened plenty of times when, a fullback is covering, he's coming back, especially when he's not a right-footed player. He's trying to like change his body shape, get out with his left, but it's hard to do so when it's coming at that much power. And it just clips Giles and goes into the back of his own net. And I know he was really, really down about that after the game. He felt like he'd let the team down, like it was his fault that we drew, um, that kind of thing. But it really, really wasn't. Difficult to take down. And like I said, he's not completely at fault because for me, that them getting the ball in that situation could have been prevented. It could have been um, very preventable. Like I say, either Akpom or Jake Steele steps in, doesn't allow Norwood that space, it just switches on a bit quicker. But yeah, like I say, it goes in 2-1 down. Yeah, it's not looking so good at that point. Head in hands, thought, oh, God, if we threw it away, because like I say, we looked really dominant. We looked really good. Anyway, stay calm, play our football. Wilder makes a couple of substitutions. Watmore comes on. Alex Moore comes on for his debut, which we'll obviously get into later in the episode. Um, and yeah, we just stayed calm, we played our football. Anyway, ball goes out. Alex Moore retains possession, plays it out wide. The ball whipped in by Jones, I think it was, and it gets a header. I want to say in line with the penalty spot to the left of the penalty spot, gets headed back across. And to be fair, it's very poor defending from Sheffield United. They get called ball watching in no man's land a bit, too close to the ball. Well, two players go for one man. Um, and Akpom's literally free on the 6 yard box. I don't get me wrong, he's still got an awful lot to do because to direct it goalwards is one thing, but to get enough power to generate it like top corner, he had an awful lot to do. But yeah, it gets flipped back across, and that Pom's there to nod it in. 2-2, 81st minute, goes and celebrates with the fans. You could tell how much that meant to him. Even like, well, the first goal, obviously, but that second goal, even more. Um, he said after the game, he absolutely ran his socks off. He twisted his knee in the first half and he carried on. He was 70th minute. Wilder asks him, "He's still all right to play?" In his head, he's thinking, "Am I? Like, there's no way I'm going to carry on playing here." But he does. He keeps going. He says to Wilder, "Yeah, I'm good." Plays another 10 minutes, gets the equaliser, runs off, celebrates. Oh my! I don't know if you've seen this, but Leo, he runs over at the bench to celebrate, and Leo's like he runs out with the tactics boards, and he's like showing him loads of instructions. Like you think he's gonna let you take that in? He's class Leo, like. Um, but yeah, I've sung his praises the last few episodes now. Um, I said, didn't I? I don't take credit often, but I'm gonna say I called this one. I said, like I said a few weeks ago, he's got all the attributes to be a proper Wilder striker. He really, really does. And them two goals proved exactly why. If he gets a service, he will score. He's a finisher. He's a goal scorer. Although, like you say, his record doesn't back it up. His goal to game ratio doesn't back it up. I know people have had his doubts about when he first joined the club and he had them good few games, scored like three in a row, and then barely any after that. I know people had the doubts about him, so people are saying, he might have a good start and then he'll peter off. I genuinely think under Wilder, he's done enough. Look, if he didn't want to beat the club, I don't think he'd have came back after being missing for 2 seasons. Um, and gone, you know what, I'm going to get my head down in front of this manager. I'm going to work my ass off, even though I haven't been involved in pre-season. Everyone thought I was going to leave. I thought I was going to leave. I don't think he'd have got his head down and really kicked on at the start of the season if he didn't want to be at this football club and he didn't want to make something of his career at this football club and under Wilder. Now, credit to him because throughout them tough times, he's never once kicked up a fuss. He's never blamed the manager. He's never blamed the club. He's just took it as it comes, got his head down and just played some good football. And like I say, credit to him, he absolutely deserves it. And I'm so happy for him. And I really, really, really hope that he carries it on. I wouldn't be surprised to not see him feature on Wednesday against Stoke, just because he was absolutely knackered after that game against Sheffield United. And rightly so. Um, but yeah, there was one chance, one more chance. Giles, like I say, was a threat again all game. Gets it on the left hand side. He whips in a delicious ball, and it kind of curves around the defender, but kind of arches back into the corner of the 6 yard box on the left hand side. And Watmore running in, he's trying to twist his body. He's using the pace and the momentum of the ball, try and guide it goalwards. and it just rattles the post and comes back out, and no one can get the tap in. But my word, if that comes in and you complete the turnaround, that the scenes would have been incredible. But it wasn't to be. Entertaining match, like I say, for the neutral. What a game! Cracking game of football, cracking atmosphere, great weather, and as an overall view, I'd say you know people say, "Oh, point." I've had a few comments. Point at home. Why are we taking a point at home? This, that, and the other. You've got to like get your head out your ass and think of the game scenario. Just because you're at home doesn't mean that it should be a guaranteed win or this, that, or the other. Certain moments that happen in games which can completely change the out. You could be at home, you get a man sent off, you're down to 10 men. If it's early on, you've got to change formation. You've got to then you'd take a point. In this instance, we were pegged back twice against a tough, resilient side who made the playoffs last year, who are probably going to be up there again this year. I don't think our first three fixtures have been easy by any means, and I would have. I mean, I'd like the 3 points from QPR, but I'd have took a point from West Brom and Sheffield United, 100%. Especially with us not having a full squad yet. Yes, we had pre-season, but with not having a full squad, enough to rotate, a couple of injuries to key players, McNair and Fry. I'd say, like I said, I'd take a point. The players did well to come back twice. They showed enough determination, enough fight. We played some good football. There's so many positives to take from that. Let's not look at the negatives. Um, well, the negatives being a little bit shaky at times, a little bit, at the back. But yeah, take the positives. There's plenty to be positive about. There's plenty to look forward to. Um, Wednesday. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be another testing game. Stoke is not an easy away day at all, and one that we've struggled with for quite a few years now. It's been a bit of a bogey place to go. Um, but yeah, plenty, like I said, to be happy about the performance, and yeah, we take that, like I say, into the next game. So that wraps up the match reviews. Now I'm going to get into our sponsors. So first sponsor is Family Outings Limited. Now, obviously, we spoke about these guys. These are family-friendly coach trips from Teesside to national destinations like across the UK. So if you fancy a day out at Eden Camp, Flamingo Land, Alton Towers, places like this, really good attractions, family outings, a place to go. They put on coaches from Billingham, Stockton, Middlesbrough, and where else haven't I said? Billingham, Stockton, Middlesbrough, Hartlepool as well. Yeah, so go and check them out. If you fancy a day out with your kids, or just in general, if you fancy a day out with your mates, go and check them out because they've got some good prices as well. And you can just get the coach there. You're hot on, takes you right there, and gets you into Flamingo Land as well. So yeah, all sorted for you. Next sponsor is Spencer Beck Windows Teesside. Obviously, it's in the name, really. A traditional window cleaning service that literally covers all of Teesside. Now, spoke to them at the weekend, and it doesn't matter how hot the weather was, they were out there, they were grafting, cleaning windows, making sure no one had any mucky windows. Got some cracking tans on the way of doing it. But yeah, go and check them guys out. If you want a window cleaner or don't have one, yeah, go and speak to Spencer Beck. Chris Clark Solicitors is the next one. Now, um, they're based in Staffordshire, like I say, but Chris is a massive, massive Borough fan. The business has been established since 1986, so they're really reliable solicitors, and they do everything from criminal defence, conveyancing, wills, probate, all that kind of stuff. And if you are a Borough fan that's down there in that area, speak to Chris Clark Solicitors. really, really great firm with, like I say, years of experience to help you out there. Next one is Gracie Barra Martial Arts. Now, Gracie Barra is actually a worldwide community, right, of jiu-jitsu. There's instructors, students, athletes, and get this, right? So the organization's built up over 700 schools, sorry, in 6 different continents. Now, that is pretty impressive. And what makes it even better is there's one in Middlesbrough and there's one in Hartlepool. They're our 2 local ones. Now, like I said in the last episode, I'm gonna have to start with jiu-jitsu lessons up because one, it's cool. Two, you get fit while you're doing it, and three, the amount of experience that these guys have is unbelievable. So if you're looking to get into martial arts, maybe haven't tried it before, I fancy it. Go and speak to these guys, because yeah, really, really, really good brand. Next one, AM training recruitment. So AM training, specialists in pre-employability training, working with like unemployed candidates across the Tees Valley region, just to help you find jobs, help you find build the skills that you might need to, if there was a job that you had in mind, you go speak to these guys. These guys recommend certain training, certain courses that you can take, certain skills you might need to work